In January 2026, Ryan Walker accepted a position as a night technician at a small radio station in northern Scotland. The station had been broadcasting continuously for more than 60 years and remained open 24 hours a day. Ryan enjoyed working alone. His responsibilities were simple: monitor the transmission systems and make sure every scheduled program aired correctly. Most nights were uneventful. 3 weeks after he started working there, he noticed something strange while reviewing the station's broadcast schedule. Every minute of programming was listed except for. Between 3:13 a.m. and 3:17 a.m., there was an unexplained gap. At first, Ryan assumed it was a software error. But when he mentioned it to one of the senior employees, the older man quietly replied, "It's always been there." "What do you mean?" Ryan asked. "We call it the missing broadcast." The answer made little sense. According to the official records, no program had ever occupied those 4 minutes. Yet the transmission log showed that something had been broadcast at exactly 3:13 a.m. every night for decades. No one knew what it was. The older employee explained that several attempts had been made to record the mysterious broadcast over the years. Every recording failed. The files contained nothing but static. Stranger still, listeners occasionally contacted the station describing what they had heard during those 4 minutes. Some heard music. Others heard someone quietly speaking their name. And although hundreds of reports had been received over the years, no two descriptions were ever the same. That night, Ryan decided to remain in the control room. At exactly 3:13 a.m., every monitor briefly flickered before returning to normal. The music playing through his headphones suddenly stopped. Silence filled the room. Then he heard a quiet voice. "Ryan." He immediately removed his headphones and looked around the control room. He was completely alone. Slowly, he placed the headphones back over his ears. The voice spoke again. "We've been waiting for you." Ryan checked the audio system. No microphones were active. No files were scheduled to play. And according to the control panel, absolutely nothing was being transmitted. Yet someone had spoken his name. Then came one final sentence. "Please don't miss tomorrow." At that exact moment, the station clock changed to 3:17 a.m. The missing broadcast had ended. When Ryan checked the transmission logs, they showed exactly what they always had. Nothing had been broadcast between 3:13 a.m. and 3:17 a.m. And yet, he knew he hadn't imagined what he had heard. For the first time since beginning his new job, Ryan was afraid to return the following night. Ryan didn't sleep much the following day. He couldn't stop thinking about the voice he had heard through his headphones. It hadn't sounded distorted or unnatural. On the contrary, it was calm and clear, as though someone had been sitting beside him inside the control room. At 11 p.m., he returned for another night shift. The station was unusually quiet. Even the older employee who had spoken to him the previous day seemed reluctant to discuss the missing broadcast. Before leaving, however, the man quietly handed Ryan a small key. "What's this for?" Ryan asked. "The archive room," he replied. "It's time you knew." Hidden beneath the radio station was a small room containing thousands of old documents and magnetic tapes dating back more than 60 years. Ryan spent several hours reading maintenance reports and listener letters. Then he discovered something strange. Every 10 years, someone working at the station had reported hearing the missing broadcast for the first time. And every report contained the same sentence: "We've been waiting for you." Ryan quickly checked the dates. 1966, 1967, 1968, 1969, 1970, 1971, and finally, 2026. His year. He continued searching through the archives until he found an old newspaper article published in 1976. A night technician named Samuel Reed had resigned 3 days after hearing the mysterious broadcast. Before leaving the station forever, he wrote a single sentence in the maintenance log: "Never answer when it speaks to you." Ryan felt increasingly uncomfortable as 3 a.m. slowly approached. At exactly 3:13 a.m., the monitors flickered once again. Silence filled the control room. This time, however, the voice didn't speak immediately. Instead, Ryan heard something else. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, as though someone was quietly walking through the empty radio station. He checked every security camera. No one was there. The footsteps continued for several seconds before finally stopping outside the control room door. Then the voice quietly whispered, "Thank you for coming back." Ryan remained perfectly still. He remembered Samuel Reed's warning and refused to answer. For almost a minute, nothing happened. Then the voice spoke once more. "You're listening to us now." His eyes immediately moved toward the station clock. It displayed exactly 3:15 a.m. 2 minutes still remained before the missing broadcast would end. Then something appeared on his computer screen. A transmission log dated January 17th, 2036. 10 years in the future. According to the document, Ryan Walker was still employed by the radio station, and beside his name was a handwritten note. He finally answered. At 3:17 a.m., the mysterious transmission ended once again. But this time, Ryan wasn't afraid of what he had heard. He was afraid of what was waiting 10 years from now. Ryan spent the following day thinking about the document dated 2036. He had checked it repeatedly before leaving work. The transmission log looked authentic in every detail. It contained his employee number, his position at the station, and even his signature. The only impossible thing about it was the date. 10 years in the future. He considered resigning immediately. The mysterious broadcast had existed for decades before he arrived at the station. Whatever it was, he wanted nothing more to do with it. Yet curiosity wouldn't let him walk away. That night, he returned to work for what he promised himself would be the final time. Shortly before 3 a.m., the older employee quietly approached him. "You found the document, didn't you?" he asked. Ryan slowly nodded. Without appearing surprised, the older man smiled sadly. "So did I," he quietly replied. Ryan immediately looked at him in confusion. "What happened?" The man hesitated before answering. "I never answered." Before Ryan could ask another question, the station clock changed to 3:13 a.m. The monitors flickered once again. Silence filled the control room. Then the familiar voice returned. "Ryan." This time, however, another voice quietly spoke beside it. Then another, and another. Dozens of voices could now be heard speaking softly through his headphones. They weren't frightening. They sounded calm, almost welcoming. Then one sentence emerged clearly from the mysterious transmission. "You don't belong here." Ryan froze. The voice continued. "Leave while you still can." For the first time since hearing the missing broadcast, it wasn't asking him to stay. It was warning him to leave. Slowly, another document appeared on his computer screen. This one was dated January 17th, 2036. Unlike the previous transmission log, however, it contained only a single sentence. He listened. At exactly 3:17 a.m., the missing broadcast ended once more. And for the first time in 60 years, something unexpected happened. The 4 unexplained minutes completely disappeared from the station's transmission logs. They had simply ceased to exist. The following morning, Ryan resigned from his position and left northern Scotland forever. Years later, he occasionally receives messages from former employees of the radio station. The missing broadcast still exists. Listeners continue reporting strange voices during those 4 mysterious minutes. And sometimes, new employees claim they hear someone quietly warning them to leave. No one knows where the transmission comes from. No one knows who the voices belong to. But every employee learns one simple rule before their first night shift. If the missing broadcast ever speaks your name, listen carefully. It may not be calling you. It may be trying to save you.